Hello, welcome back. All right, today we're going to dive into a topic that needs a little bit of tough love. We need to change our mindset around food and exercise. It's time to kick the guilt and restrictions to the curb and adopt a mindset that's all about self care and balance. So let's dive in. If you've ever thought something along the lines of, I need to work off that donut I had, that burger, that pizza, that whatever the case is, or if you've ever thought something like, I've been good all week, so I deserve some dessert, or yeah, anything that's like, I deserve this. Um, we've all been there. I've been there. Let's face it, like those are mind games that you will forever play in your head, um, but they don't serve us very well. And we need to really work on shifting our mindset around that and being okay with telling ourselves no, especially in those situations. So let's start by debunking the idea that exercise is a punishment for indulging or anything like that. So, exercise is not about making up for what you ate. It should be about celebrating what your body can do. And, especially as we are going along in this life, like we don't know how much time we have, and we have if you have the opportunity to get outside to move your body, let's do it. Whether you're going for a walk, a run, a hike, a bike, going to the gym, whatever it is, you gotta do it. We need to move our body, not because we want to burn off that food, but because we love the feeling, during, after, whatever the case is, depending on who you are. But that feeling after, having a hard workout, a big hike, doing a mountain bike ride or a regular bike ride, a road bike ride, um, going to the gym, going for a run, anything like that, that the endorphins that you get, the release of that after you do that, you feel so accomplished. And you should feel proud of yourself, like proud of the efforts that you put in, proud for showing up, because showing up is probably one of the hardest things to do. Once you're there, I'm not going to say it's easy, but you're there, you're putting in the effort, and that's awesome. Um, and I think really reminding yourself that it's not about how much you're doing, how much you're sweating. It is about enjoying what you are doing. If you find, or if you enjoy certain activities like hiking or biking, coming to the gym, lifting weights, whatever that is, like you should do it. If you're forcing yourself to go for a run because that's what you feel like you have to do to lose weight or to get in shape, like no, like yeah, that's not okay. Yes, there's a time and place to do things that you don't love. But if you're just trying to get your body to move and you're not an athlete, or if you're not trying to do something specifically special, um, dump it. Like, don't do it. Go find something that you enjoy, moving your body and doing, because, you got to enjoy it to feel good. Um, Okay, let's talk about the guilt, and the shame around food, indulging, talking about that. Okay, so feeling guilty about food choices can lead to, the cycle of shame and stress. So, whether you overate, overindulged, had something that you weren't supposed to, or whatever that is, um, and then you're like, you say to yourself, I'm going to, okay, tomorrow I'm going to not have this and this. I'm going to make sure I'm 100%, I'm strict, I'm this. And then you wake up the next day, you're like, yeah, I'm going to be strict, I'm going to do this, and however long it lasts. And then maybe you're at a function, or you have a donut, or something comes up, and then you just beat yourself down. You feel like crap, you feel like shit, you shame yourself, you say all these terrible things in your head, like, you're a piece of poop and, whatever you had said, whatever you say in your head, like that cycle right there. Because as soon as you say that and you put yourself in that position of shaming yourself, then you try to give yourself a promise of like, I'll do better, I'll do this. And it's just a cycle after cycle after cycle. And we got to break that fucking cycle. Like, enough of that. Um, really looking at dropping the good and bad foods and really embracing how foods make you feel. And that is kind of like the simplicity of, or the way that I go about having foods being brought into someone's diet that maybe they're not eating or they need to eat more of, but really, being in touch with your body of how certain foods make you feel, physically and mentally. If you sit there and you ate a dinner of chicken, some, roasted potatoes with like rosemary and garlic and some salt and pepper, and it was like a Greek chicken breast, and then you had maybe some sautéed. What would be good with that? Some Brussels or or some maybe sautéed onions and peppers, something like that. And you eat that meal and sitting and seeing how your body feels like right after, an hour after, 2 hours after. I bet you're feeling pretty good as long as those foods you can eat. You're feeling pretty good after that meal. But then you go, let's say, go out for food, or you stop at a fast food restaurant, or you have pizza, plain and simple pizza. I bet right after you probably feel pretty stuffed. And an hour after, 2 hours after, you probably feel like sitting on your couch and not moving. When you think about how your body reacts to foods and how your body feels and what you want to do after eating those foods, that should help you determine the foods that you would want to eat a little bit more often than not. Um, Having pizza, not to say that you can't have pizza, but knowing that that's how you're going to feel. So if you're going to eat that and know that you have a lot of stuff that you need to do, it's probably not going to be successful. Or if you know it's going to be Friday night pizza night and that's what you're doing and you've already done everything that you need to do and that's what you're doing, sure. But we want to make sure the next day we're waking up and we're just getting back into the routine of eating the regular foods. But if you're trying to change from eating those types of foods, how you're eating now, to eating foods that maybe make you feel a little bit better, that's a pretty good idea. And really listening to how your body reacts to it, and how your body feels, because that's also going to play into the path of your future. If you want to feel, or if you want to have a healthy life, if you want to lead a healthy lifestyle, how you feel when you eat pizza and you don't want to move, that's probably not going to lead a healthy lifestyle. But if you have that chicken dinner and you feel like energized, you feel good, that's more in line with a healthy lifestyle. Um, Kind of went off there. All right, let's talk about the deserving treats based on a behavior. This is one thing that I have a really hard time with. A couple of these things, right? Like there's this motion going on. I don't know what to call it. Where we are gracious with ourselves. We're gentle. There's lots of different sayings that are going around, like be gentle with yourself, be gentle. And I look at that in a different sense, and I hear that a way that it should be. But a lot of people take that as, I had a hard day, so I allowed myself to have this donut. I had a really tough day, so I decided instead of having the food that I was going to eat at home, I stopped at a fast food joint and got this instead. Food should never be a reward for being good or a crutch for hard times or tough times. So really defining food and those treats as moments of, having it as a a self care and not a band-aid for emotional times. Like instead of diving into a pint of ice cream after a rough day, what about going for a run, going for a walk, chatting with a friend, reading a good book, treating yourself right in a way of self-care. um, and a lot of when we think about self-care, I think there's a lot of miscommunicate or misinformation about what that means. When I think of self-care, I think of doing the stuff that makes me a healthier person, going to the gym, eating the good food, going to the gym, eating food that gives me the nutrients and the vitamins that my body needs to excel at its highest potential. Um, I focus on my sleep. I try to manage my stress. I got to get my work done. I got to do all these things to make sure that that is my self-care, because if I just let a lot of things slide, one, I'm not taking care of myself. So if I'm not taking care of myself, I damn sure can't be looking after my son. And I probably am not going to be a good wife to my husband, because I'm probably in a bad mood from, not treating myself right, eating things that don't make me feel good, which affect my mood. And then I take that out on him, and I'm not doing anything else because I have no energy. And then I'm just like a ticking time bomb that nobody wants to be around. Um, so when we talk about treating yourself right and treating yourself with self-care, that is, in those moments, whether you had a tough day or you've been good for the week or you had a good workout or whatever, don't, it doesn't have to be a food tied. If you want to call it a reward, call it a reward. Things like, oh, I hit a PR. I'm going to treat myself to an ice cream. What about I hit a PR, so I'm going to buy myself a new sports bra, or something that aligns with that lifestyle that you're wanting to lead. And really, yeah, really going back to food should never be a reward or used in situations of I was being gentle with myself, so I allowed myself to eat this. Like, I take that as you are going back on the promise that you made to yourself to be healthier, and you're allowing yourself to take that promise away to eat something that you want to eat, and trying to excuse it, if that makes sense. So that's a little bit of some hard love. Like, it isn't about restriction, it's about saying no and creating boundaries so you can lead a healthy lifestyle. So when we talk about restricting, right? Restricting food groups, out of fear or guilt, it is not sustainable. So if you're trying to kick sugar and dairy and gluten out of your life for 30 days, what happens after that 30 days? It's not realistic and it isn't sustainable. If you're doing it for the purpose of losing weight or pretty much losing weight, um, the results, you might get some results within that time frame that you've cut it out, but as soon as you go back to eating that how you were before, that weight's going to come back. I am on the board of restricting, I don't want to say restricting, but removing foods if you have some sort of gut issue, if you have an autoimmune disease, if you have something, or an allergy, if you have something that limits you and you should not be having that food, you should not be having that food, even if you want it. That is basically telling your body, I don't care what you're trying to tell me. I'm going to keep eating this, even though you tell me you don't feel good when I eat this. Um, I never feel restriction should be made other than for those reasons. So really trying to, step away from that that restriction mindset, that guilt behind having specific foods. If your body feels good, if you can eat bread, if you're one of those people that can eat bread and not feel bloated and not feel like you have a negative reaction to it, by all means, you can have it. Um, it is going to always cause a little bit of inflammation for people. It's just because it's harder for our body to break it down. Same like dairy, our body, it's just hard for our bodies to break it down. um, and sugar, I don't want to say I feel like a lot of people should stay away from sugar, but a lot of people should stay away from sugar, not just to lose weight, but for health reasons and health concerns. um, but again, it's not restricting, it's just creating a boundary around that food and allowing that to enter if you want to have something. But if you choose not to have it enter into your everyday food, that's okay, that's your choice. And nobody it's nobody else's business but yours. I'm kind of going off base here, but that's okay. All right. What was this about, anyways? Breaking free from guilt and restrictions. Yeah. So I think balance is the biggest thing to come out of this. And, everybody says that, what does balance mean? And balance looks different for everybody. It depends on who you are, what your goals are, what type of life that you want to lead. And you have to figure that out for you and what those balances are. So nobody else can come in and tell you, oh, well, it should be like this, it should be like that. If you're not sure what balance might look like for you, then yeah, hiring a nutrition coach or hiring someone to help you, find that balance is definitely understandable. And, it's a good thing to have. It's always great to have somebody in your corner and help you out, especially when you have so many other things going on in your life. It is helpful to have somebody in your corner helping you out, keeping you accountable, and all that. So let's talk a little bit about creating that mindset, that balanced mindset. So, breaking yourself free from that guilt and that restriction lifestyle and finding a little bit of balance. The biggest thing is, first identifying what your goal is and what you want to achieve. If it is simply having a healthier lifestyle and having an overall longevity of healthiness, then your balance might look a little bit different than somebody else's, and that's okay. Um, the first and foremost thing when it comes to changing your mindset around food is how you approach food. So again, we're removing the label of good or bad food, because there's no such thing as good or bad food. That's like, I hate those words. Hey, good or bad. Oh, have you been good today? Are you bad? Anyways, um, food is food. There's food, and everyone reacts different to food, and every food makes everybody feel a certain way when they eat it. There is nutrients and vitamins in whole foods. That is what our body needs to flourish, to be its highest potential. So that's foods that grow in the ground and animals and animal meats and stuff. Um, some people don't eat animals, and that's okay. When we're looking at additional ingredients and stuff like that, when you're trying to, you know, if you're, there's two kind of paths with this. If you still want to dive a little bit and have some processed foods and have some foods that, you know, are in that packaged aisle, fine. But if you maybe have a hard time, getting enough whole foods and only eating this, then I would say, challenge yourself a little bit. Maybe just try to have some whole foods for a couple of weeks or a month and see if you can do it. So starting off with food, making choices with food that makes you feel good. Like I said, if you're sitting down, if you're eating some pizza, think about how you're feeling while you're eating it. How do you feel right after eating it? How are you feeling an hour, 2 hours after that? I would say you probably don't feel like doing much other than sitting on the couch and not really moving. You probably don't feel like going for a walk or anything. But if you eat a meal that has, nice chicken and the roasted potatoes and a side veggie, you probably feel pretty good. You probably feel like, oh, I could go for a walk. I could go do something. I have the energy to do that. I feel pretty good. I don't feel bloated or run down or anything like that. Really focusing on how foods make you feel. That's huge. When I have clients that have a little bit of, dysregulation with food, whether it's emotional ties or triggers or just, you know, hasn't had the proper upbringing with foods, it is really tuning them into how their body feels when they eat certain foods, where are their emotions at, how are they feeling physically and emotionally. So when you sit down with a meal, the first thing that you can do is not be distracted with other things. So, don't be watching TV, don't be scrolling on your phone, don't be doing anything else except for eating. Look at your plate of food. I want you to look with your eyes. That starts the digestion. So that is the first part, is our eyes. Our eyes look at what we're eating. And then once we're looking at that kind of starts the actual, process of our body starting to um, ready itself for food, the digestion process. So our mouth starts to salivate, and it's ready for food. Okay. That starts helping the breakdown and absorption of the food that we're eating. And then it goes down and all that's good stuff. So before it goes down, chewing your food 20 to 30 times, slowing the fuck down. You're eating. Everything else that you're doing, you just got to slow down. You got to savor, you got to chew. Not only like to savor and to like let that connection to your gut and mind be in sync, but you also have to help your gut by chewing your food enough, so and breaking it down enough so it has an easier way to further digest, break down the foods, absorb all that good stuff. um and if you get to the point as you're eating, it should be slow. You should be taking 15 to 25 minutes depending on the meal. That's how long it should take you to eat. And as you're eating, if you start to feel like you're full, then stop eating. Don't force yourself to eat the whole meal even if you're full. um, Simple as that. um, when it comes to other areas of restriction, my just plain and simple, don't restrict foods for the purpose of losing weight. That's it. If you find yourself telling yourself that you're going to restrict something because you want to lose weight, smack yourself. Don't do it. um, if you're restricting foods because you feel like you might have gut dysbiosis, if you are restricting foods because you feel like you might have gut dysbiosis or some other issue, I understand, for sure. Get that. Reach out to someone that has gut health specialty, whether it's a naturopath or a nutrition coach. I myself have worked with a few clients through their gut issues, and it is something that I'm passionate about because I have also had gut issues, and I know how important it is to to eat and digest your food correctly. Um, on the note of exercise, so don't don't. On the point of exercises, find exercises that challenge and fulfill you. It's not about how hard you're going or all that stuff. It's about feeling accomplishment and feeling strong and confident. Um, you know, the biggest thing too is just like quit quit giving excuses. Commit to a lifestyle that prioritizes health and fitness. No matter who you are, no matter what your goals are, you should always be trying to prioritize a life with health and fitness in it. And not only that, is happiness, doing things that make you happy. Um, so yeah, in conclusion, let's ditch the guilt trips. Let's embrace a mindset that focuses on self-care and balance and nourishing your body that makes it feel good. um, by changing this, by changing how we think and how we break that cycle of the guilt, the shame, the restriction, you're going to notice that you're just going to overall be happier with yourself. You're not going to feel so shitty about yourself. You're not going to be breaking yourself, talking down to yourself. You're not going to be shaming yourself. You're going to create lasting habits that bring you joy and strength and health and happiness. So, if you are ready to kick guilt to the curb and adopt a balanced mindset, smash the button and subscribe for more insights for healthy living and mindset and all that good stuff. If you want to share your journey, please send it to me or put it in the comments. I'd love to hear how everyone is embracing a healthier approach. And if you have any feedback on this of how I can be better, because I'm not a pro, clearly look at this. Um, yeah, and you can probably hear the fan going too. That's okay. It's boiling hot in here. Remember, perfection is non-existent. It's about progress. It's about just trying to be a little bit better each day. If you mess up, do not feel guilty about that. Everybody messes up. Doesn't matter. Stay mindful. Keep moving forward. And until next time, I hope you guys keep doing what you're doing. Own it. Love it. Peace out.